Was that moment, we had it on Sunday with Ashton Genty where everyone thought he was seriously hurt, and then yesterday, this moment here with Jamar Chase. How bad did this look? Knee injury, you're going to see him, he's going to limp off and kind of go to the ground. Star receiver says he's fine. It's unclear how much work he's going to do the rest of the preseason, but it does sort of offer a reminder, Lewis. Does it feel like it is now or never for Burrow's Bengals?
Absolutely it does. I think we know, based upon what Joe has said himself in terms of taking the initiative to instill a sense of urgency, within his teammates and within the organization at large, I think that right there is proof positive that he understands that this is his best shot and that time is running out. And for Zach Taylor, time is running out. If they do not look, the playoffs, the inclusion in the playoffs is the floor for them. That's the absolute floor to me. Otherwise, there's going to be significant changes in Cincinnati, especially with all the investments they made on the defensive side of the ball.
Clarky, I was reading your notes last night. You like Cincinnati.
I love this team. They're my AFC favorite right now, which is why I got very worried when I saw the
AFC favorite, not just the division.
AFC favorite, yes. That's why I got worried when I saw the video of the Chase injury.
Yeah.
It looks to be okay. Jamar Chase said if he had a game tomorrow, he'd play. That's good news. But when I look at this roster, Joe Burrow said it himself. This is the best roster since he's been there. That's because Dexter Lawrence is the most double-teamed guy on the planet the last few years. That's because they signed Brian Cook to solve their tackling woes, of which there were many last year. There's actual talent on this defense. They got better as the season went along last year. They're going to allow yet less yards after catch, which was their Achilles heel last year. You know the offense is going to be good. Give me the AFC champion, Cincinnati Bengals.
It makes a lot of sense. And let's keep in mind, this is the only team in the AFC North that has the same returning head coach, which it's unbelievable. I was saying Cincinnati actually has continuity. I do think they're the best offense in the conference. They should score. And then when you think about closing out games, I agree with what Kevin said. Don't forget about Boye, Mafe, Cassius Al. They have some depth now up front, and I think they are designed as a 2026 team that can take advantage of the scoring rules and now hopefully finish games
As much as they are a trendy pick and as good as Joe Burrow is and as many investments they made on the defensive side of the football, you saw the preseason game against Detroit, right? You saw how many times Joe got hit in that game, right?
Yeah.
The offensive line is still a problem. That could derail everything. I love the additions they made on defense, and I'm with you. I'm as optimistic as anyone. This offensive line still scares me. They have never corrected this issue, and I still don't believe it's corrected. I think Joe's going to have to overcome it.
So we'll see if he's able to. In the meantime, we are just getting news in right now from the New York Giants, and it is not good. They have lost Calvin Austin, their receiver, for the season. Shefty is reporting that it is a torn ACL that required him to be carted off the field at practice yesterday. So he was expected, I think, to play a significant role here. This just underlines the significance of Malik Neighbors coming back healthy. What are we thinking about here? The Giants in a... I've got such mixed thoughts. I got some people telling me the Giants are going to be a rocket ship to the moon, and other people saying, slow down, hold your horses. You look like you're on the horses' side.
Yeah, hold those horses. It's not going to be 30 years like your anniversary take, and they'll be a lot better. But again, context is everything. John Harbaugh is taking over a team that's won 7 games in 2 years. And Malik Neighbors is absolutely as maybe indispensable as any non-quarterback in the league. I don't know where their offense is going to come from outside of him. Malachi Fields is flash. Maybe OBJ, they could squeeze a year out of him. But when you think about Cam Scatterbo, Jackson Dart, and Malik Neighbors, can those 3 good young players get through 17 games?
Can they, if they get through something close to 17 games, can this Giants team go from its... the thing that people keep pointing to is how many ridiculous games they lost last year. Well, they lose 4 double-digit leads in the fourth quarter, something like that. Something that had practically been unprecedented. How good are the Giants going to be?
Look, I think defensively they should be much improved. Look, John Harbaugh brings his guy in, Denard Wilson, who he had in Baltimore with him, who I think is an up-and-coming head coaching candidate. They've got playmakers on all 3 levels on the defensive side of the football. If the offensive line stays healthy, it could be very, very good. Isaiah Likely, let's remember that too, at tight end. He's going to have to be the guy who now controls the middle of the field now, especially with them not really having a slot presence now that Wan'Dale's been hurt.
Clarky, you said earlier you like the Eagles to win the division. You like the Cowboys next. Are the Giants a fringe playoff team, or are they not even that good?
They're in the hold your horses bucket right now. Mike T, I completely agree with you, except I do think that Malik Neighbors is not on the list for most indispensable guys, only because they had 216 snaps from him last year, and Jackson Dart still looked good. He still made progress. So I think the biggest thing is, we're talking about culture change with John Harbaugh. The Giants have shown themselves unable to make good decisions unless they have a really strong voice in the room. Someone like a John Harbaugh, a Tom Coughlin, a Bill Parcells for that, obviously George Young. So John Harbaugh is going to come in and completely change how the organization is run. That, to me, is a much bigger deal than whether or not they win 9 games.
I want to push back. If the four of us were the opposing defensive coordinator playing the Giants, and let's say Malik Neighbors isn't available, and let's hope he is, who are we worried about?
Yeah.
Who are we worrying about wrecking the game?
At this point, probably no one, and they could ill afford a significant injury to a receiver, and now they've got one. So we'll see where they all go. Our next stop is Kansas City. The Chiefs are 19 days away from their season opener, which will be on Monday Night Football against the Broncos, and all signs are pointing to Patrick Mahomes getting back through training camp and being on track to return to the field for that Week 1 game. Yesterday, he was talking about his approach to training camp this season.
To go out there day after day and kind of have the grind of the camp, I mean, that could even be harder than the season. It's been awesome for me to be able to go out there and do that. Exciting. I didn't know if I was going to have to take days off and stuff like that, but my body's responded the right way. And so, honestly, the more we practice, the better I feel like.
So what I think is interesting is, and I've heard variations on this expression over the course of time, but NFL teams lie to you all the time when they speak, right? They tell you that it's part of the job, is to engage in misinformation. No one knows better than Tannenbaum does. They tell you the truth with their actions. And some of the things they've done during this offseason, who was it that said this in our meeting this morning? Some of the acquisitions they've made, bringing back Eric Bieniemy, bringing in Kenneth Walker III. They're going to run a different offense this year.
Yeah, again, teams tell you who they are by what they do. They didn't go out and try to sign a top-flight receiver, which I think a few of us thought they would, by going to get Eric Bieniemy and Kenneth Walker. I think what they're saying is for this year, knowing that Patrick Mahomes will be Superman again, we don't know when, with an offensive line that has a lot of questions, are we better off trying to control line scrimmage, run the ball a little bit more, which is not Andy Reid's background by any stretch, but you look at the receiver situation between Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, like where are the explosive plays coming from? Let's remember last year they had one touchdown pass where the ball traveled more than 20 yards. That's unbelievable when you think about the ability of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, this offense is evolving in a way that maybe aesthetically people aren't going to like, but it's out of necessity. Number one, because I think they understand that capturing the line of scrimmage and playing a physical brand of football, at the end of the day, when you're talking about December and January football, that's how you need to win. Eric Bieniemy is the perfect guy to instill that. I think it's going to help this offensive line, which is obviously working at a deficit when it comes to pass protection on the perimeter. And look, Patrick's game is going to evolve. He's going to have to win with his mind and his mastery of this offense more so than with his improvisational skills. Look, it's just a fact. And you're right. They saw it coming. They saw it coming as soon as he went down. And I think this plan has kind of been put into place for a while now. And this offense, look, it all is going to start up front. We know that the tackle position is one where, look, it's tenuous right now. It's a little bit scary about what's going on the perimeter. You throw on the tape of that Tampa Bay game in the preseason, and you're sitting there going, holy heck. This could get ugly on the perimeter if they have to drop back and throw the football 30, 40 times a game, which they just can't do. They can't do it with the way they're presently constructed.
Hembo hit me with the number that stopped me in my tracks this morning. Last 4 years, pass touchdowns from Mahomes outside the red zone, 18. Okay, 18 for the last 4 years. 4 years before that, 56 touchdowns outside the red zone. That shows you how different their offense is. It used to be Tyreek Hill down the field, even Travis Kelce down the field, 20-yard throws. That just doesn't happen anymore. It's a different type of offense. Now, that's a receiver stat. That's an offensive line stat. That's a Mahomes stat. He's just changing a little bit. The offense is changing. But to your point, Mike, Kenneth Walker makes everything easier. Run the ball, get those safeties to come down, bang. If you want to go over the top, you can.
That's an amazing number. I mean, that is about as stark a jump or a drop-off as you could ever imagine.
Yeah, it sure is. And look, I think people need to also understand and remember, too, like, they didn't necessarily – they made an offer to Tyreek Hill. They didn't just let him walk out the door.
Right.
They wanted to try and keep him. I just don't think that they believe that it would be as consequential as it has been, as shown by those statistics, his departure from this football team. It just shows you just how good that young man was in that offense.
They've also brought in other young guys, and those guys need to get it done.
That's right.
Worthy and other people.
They thought it was going to be Xavier Worthy with the speed down the field. Hasn't happened.
Yep. Maybe eventually it will be. We'll see. They're obviously always a fascinating team. And then there are the teams that are already thinking about next year. And the march